Hey, pal.
Hey, guys.
Well, good, man.
Okay, we're going to talk about the weather today.
Yeah. Main story of the week.
Yeah.
What's it just? South African Weather Service experienced a cyber attack. That was last weekend, and that caused its systems to fail. The attack interrupted critical services, including aviation and marine operations. The Weather Service email and website vital for weather information were also affected, and now using social media to share important updates. In the meantime, authorities are being notified about the crime, and ICT providers are working to restore the services. But that was now a week ago.
Yeah. So nothing's changed, and we're still struggling to get some weather forecasts. Yeah.
So what do you do? What do you do without having any weather?
So I saw a couple of people were asking that same question on the like Facebook and all that, and all the forums. And I think what most operators have been doing is actually phoning the airports to get actual meters. So back to the old telephone vibe there. Use your airtime.
Picking up the phone.
Yeah, pick up the phone, find out what the weather's doing, and then, sort of just, making up TAFs and that as they go.
Our good mate from Australia, Mike Mason, shot us a message last week. He said, "Hey, gents, thanks for the shout out. All good in Australia. Keeping busy when I'm not out finding dingoes. Kudos for keeping a positive spin on South Africa. I do think that the reality of the situation sometimes needs to be communicated, though." He went on to say pilot incapacitation is a tough one. Maybe the first officer on the flight was less experienced. We'll talk about that later. That was our story from last week. But to go to Mark's point there, the reality of South Africa at the moment with things like this is just becoming a little bit all too common and a bit of a dog show that just gets accepted. I mean, these cyber crimes, they do happen, but the fact that there's just zero contingency there, and you're now stuck with a week of no weather, take it or leave it. We can't do anything about it. Off you go. I find it a bit.
It's cuck, man, and it's just swak that. South Africa, we got a lot of clever people. There's a lot of technology and a lot of clever organizations. How can they not have that fixed already? I mean, case in point, you're talking about things like this now. I saw there was a guy that posted on Fly Africa yesterday. Seamus Perk just finished his comm license, cuz a week ago. You know that feeling. You've just finished your comm license. You're so proud. You can't wait to get that blue book.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be a card now, but they can't because they still can't get that stuff right. And he gets this little scrappy piece of paper because
old school,
but like really, scrappy. Looking piece of paper. There's your comm license.
Oh, so it doesn't even get a book.
Not even a book, man. It's just a scrappy piece of paper because the whole card license system and all that. So I'm digressing a bit here from the weather. But case in point is, how is it that it can take them that long to fix this issue? Same with the cyber attack. It's just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's not good. And let's hope that these, I want to say, it's going to get better. Probably not. Probably going to have to just pull out some of that South African resilience again and just deal with it. Yeah. But you get a bit fed up with dealing with that stuff, particularly with something like the weather. It's the first thing that you get. You're operating a flight. Number one, you check the weather.
Yeah.
And,
it's one of the more paramount things on the list of important things to do, especially concerning safety.
Kind of important.
Yeah. Talking about the weather, though, I can forecast the weather in Australia this weekend. And I think it's going to rain pussklaps on Sunday in Sydney.
You think so?
Yeah.
Drikus. Let's go, Drikus. Let's hope they're saying, and still. It's a huge weekend for South African sport. He rocked up at the press conference yesterday in Sydney with Trump supports champions T-shirt, and obviously with South Africa being right in the crosshairs of Trump and Elon at the moment. A lot of people are like saying, "Oh, we're going to support Sean Strickland now because Drikus is not representing as he should. But
I think he is.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And we're certainly behind Drikus this weekend.
Takes me to a joke that we actually got from old Mac this week. You saw that thing he shot us. So it's a picture of old Trump wearing his famous red cap, and it says Msaga.
Msaga.
Like also, it's got a bit of a Xhosa tone to it.
Make South Africa great again. Going back to the cyber attacks. So I looked it up, because interesting. Ransomware attacks caused significant damage last year. Despite this, victims paid much less in ransom. Now, just to throw it out there, a lot of the time, in fact, most of the time, to sort this out, you actually just have to pay. The companies just pay. One attack led to a pharmaceutical company having to pay $75 million USD in ransom payment. Overall, though, the trend is showing a decrease. So it's a difficult one. I don't think the South African Weather Service is sitting with 75 million USD.
No, bro, that's like the whole piggy bank of South Africa. So they ain't going to pay that.
Yeah.
But
definitely don't have it now, seeing that all the aid to South Africa has been cut. The budget's not looking so sharp for the year.
No, there's like fuck all USD
There's no USD there. There's a couple of ZAR there that they can take through the your income tax at the end of Feb, but there's not much. So you wonder how it's going to get sorted out then. Maybe the ransom these attackers, these cyber attackers, feel sorry for us and say, look, you can have your weather back.
Yeah, but what are they? How are they scoring by attacking the South African Weather Service? I suppose it disrupts the whole aviation industry, but it's like,
I suppose maybe they just saw it as an easy attack. You never know. Yeah. Boeing 747-8 makes an emergency landing in Montreal after the captain became incapacitated during the flight. Incident occurred on the 19th of Jan while the plane was flying from Miami to Frankfurt. The first officer took control of the plane and safely landed it 5.5 hours after takeoff. 2 flight attendants provided first aid to the captain during the descent. Passengers were rebooked on other flights to continue their journeys. That was it. So we had a conversation last week about the FlySafe Air story with the announcement to the passengers, and that's their policy. So the crew that did it, 100%, they did it the way they should have.
By the book.
By the book. Okay. But according to comments that we received from a lot of people last week, here's Almac again, all pilots are trained to handle an incapacitation. Standard drills to assist, remove, give first aid, and secure if required. Introducing anyone other than the company pilot just brings in too many risks and unnecessary liability.
Yep.
Unless there's additional complex emergency, even engaging a type-rated but non-company pilot is not, in my view, a wise strategy. I agree with you, Al, 100%. Martin Locklear, pilot incapacitation. The cabin crew are there to assist in getting the incapacitated pilots away from the controls and to provide first aid. The remaining pilot will fly the airplane to the nearest suitable airport. If there's a company pilot on board to assist, that's a bonus. You'll find that out from the cabin crew and the manifest. No dramatic Hollywood PAs for pilots. 100%. Andrew Evans, he agreed with what you had to say there, Paul. Ryan was spot on. So the consensus was that was a little bit awkward. The whole
it's a strange policy to have.
A strange one to have.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
it was cuck. Can we say? I think so.
On a positive spin for SAF Air, I see they've been given a year to sort their ownership issues out.
Yes.
So a year's grace. They can breathe easy and get back to normal now.
Yes. FlySafe Air. So it's the Air Service License Council's given them the year. Hey?
Okay.
So, that's very good news for FlySafe Air. FlySafe Air has assured passengers that it will continue ops without any disruption. The airline is seeking legal clarity. Goes on and on and on. But for a year, they're good.
I'm glad about
Good
that.
to
because
go.
I think everybody was, sitting on the edge of the bit of a pucker factor there, getting nervous about booking tickets, and at least for the industry, it's a bit of a sigh of relief that.
And then you get your mates that aren't involved in aviation. Hey Ryan, I'm thinking of going to Cape Town. Is it safe to book on Safair?
100%.
Yeah, but what if they close down? Come on, man. That's good news. That's very good news. And there's been there's been so much focus on FlySafe Air for the last, I don't know, couple of months, just been about them. But the focus is now on the government, the ANC, and all the foreign aid, where it's been going, and the cutting ties with America. So I think FlySafe Air are like, bring on more of that, because they're out the loop.
You can put some ass on the algorithm now.
100%. So FlySafe Air is cleared for takeoff as Air Council ruling raises more questions than answers.
Good news.
Good news. Sub-Saharan most visited attraction, Paul. Where do you think it is? You and me have been there plenty of times.
Yes, see. It's got to be the Kruger.
No.
Huh?
Nuh-uh. V&A Waterfront in Cape Town.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You see, we've been there lots, but I never remember leaving, bro.
Yeah. Spent too much time in Mitchell's there.
Yeah, is Mitchell still there?
Of course Mitchell's is still there. That place is been there forever. It will never go anywhere.
It's about time we hook up a Mitchell's jaw again.
Yeah, Mitchell's is a bomb. Yeah. Jeez, I love Cape Town. Cape Town's the best city in the world, bro. Yeah. I'm telling you now. Sorry, Mark. I'm not meant to give too much of a positive spin on South Africa today, but I do think that Cape Town's the best city in the world.
Yeah, I've always had a jaw on my stays over there.
Yeah. Embraer order backlog swells to record level, 40% higher year on year. The company delivered 206 aircraft in 2024, up from 181 the previous year. The executive aircraft division saw a significant boost with a backlog of 7.4 billion, 70% rise from 2023. Overall, Embraer's various segments, including defense and services, also experienced substantial growth in their order and backlogs. Embraer is a serious manufacturer now. Question. So it's always been the type ratings you want, Boeing, Airbus, was always...
Yeah.
An Embraer 190 now, awesome type rating to have.
Yeah, it kind of gets you...
Better than a 7.3?
I suppose. I mean, the opportunities are out there, hey?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a new gen plane. It's guys also I've never flown it, but everyone seems to enjoy flying it that does.
Yeah.
And I don't know, probably a little bit more scope for work on it right now. Certainly here.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a small area, hey?
No, it's not.
I mean, it gets you up there onto the medium category. Flight deck looks like it's
it looks cool.
A nice, comfy place to sit. So, yeah. Must be a pretty good rating.
Going back to our good mates there in the States, Elon and Donald Trump. So Elon Musk has been granted permission to upgrade the U.S. air traffic control system. He's doing that through his Department of Government Efficiency. They aim to improve aviation safety quickly. This follows a recent failure of the FAA safety notification system that caused significant flight delays. So expect Elon to come in and start getting involved in a few aviation things. That's pretty good.
Excellent. I see on that note as well, in the
cutting
FAA,
some money though.
They've just published a new NOTAM.
Yes.
Reminding Americans that a NOTAM in America stands for Notice to Airmen.
And it's now, correct me if I'm wrong, it's now back to, because didn't they change it?
Yeah, they changed it to some woke bullshit.
And now it's no longer woke. Yeah. It's back to NOTAM.
It's cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Well done.
Bring on more of that. The pilot of a drone, this was the guy that pranged the drone into that aircraft that was firefighting the other day in LA. His actions caused damage to a Super Scooper aircraft, which led to a pause in aerial firefighting. he faces up to 1 year in federal prison. So if you are thinking of flying a drone, please avoid aircraft at all costs.
Yeah.
And a year, I mean, you're putting people's lives at danger there. So if you, the drone stuff's still a bit sketchy to me.
Yeah, it's actually kind of scary.
It is a bit. It is.
You know,
it is.
These drones bombing around. I mean,
but
it
this
does
one
a fair amount of damage to a big airplane. Imagine now you bombing around in your little.
You're right. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah, and in this case, it led to a delay in the firefighting. So, yeah,
not good, man.
Not so good. Riyadh. We're quite big supporters of Riyadh Air, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we've been like the main champion of Riyadh Air.
We are. Riyadh Air is seeking 50 more wide-body jets before its first flight. 50. The airline is considering both Airbus and Boeing. Currently, it has ordered 39 787-9 Dreamliners and 60 321 Neos. Riyadh Air plans to serve 100 destinations and aim to attract more travelers to Saudi. However, delays in deliveries from Boeing may affect its launch time. The reason that I'm a sort of pro on Riyadh is I think if you're at the stage right now when you're looking to make a shift in your career, there's obviously all the normal big players and all the rest. And we spoke about the whole bonus structure and how good Emirates have been with paying out bonuses. A lot of the big airlines are doing it now, so obviously that's an option.
Yeah.
But obviously, to get into those airlines, there's demand. You go through a process, you get in, but you still, even though I know there's no sort of seniority like we used to have, but you fall sort of to the bottom of the queue, don't you? You know, you're one of the newbies.
Yeah. Small fish in a big pond again.
Yeah, but at Riyadh, you know, you would be starting with everyone else before operations actually commence. And then there's opportunities for what do you actually want to do? Do you want to be a simulator instructor? Do you want to be a management pilot? And obviously all those opportunities now are the ones that are being snapped up.
Yeah, of course.
So that's why I think it's a viable option for some.
Yeah, I mean, you know, getting part of that... Well, getting in early and being part of the what would you say, the OG group.
Yeah.
You know, setting yourself up there, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Good opportunities.
Good opportunities. Can I throw some aviation motivation at you, Paul?
I think I need some.
Okay. I've quite enjoyed this little segment that we've been doing. And this past week and a bit, I've had was actually a real eye-opener for me in lots of ways, but it was surreal. I've had two youngsters in the sim with me. I'll shout out to Brad and Jared. Brad, actually a Patreon, Brad Stevenson, hell of a good oak. They're doing a type rating, and they remind me so much of me and you doing the type rating many moons ago when we started at SACS. But yeah, it's been cool to have them in the sim, and I've been trying to feed them as much gen as I possibly can. And one of the areas where I've sort of found sort of a new interest is you know, the whole sort of managing the flight deck, but more specifically managing risk. Now, managing risk is basically a pilot's job. That's your job, to go in there and manage anything that comes your way. But to explain that to someone without experience is not the easiest thing in the world. You tend to gain experiences as you fly, and then you take those experiences, you put them in your top pocket so they're there to use them at a later date. Now, when you and I were beginning our aviation careers, it was a total different landscape. We sat as FOs for ages. And during that time, pros and cons to it. One of the big pros is that you get to experience a lot of these things as a first officer. And you see how the captains handle it, whether it be a diversion, something happening on board, unruly passenger, whatever it is. You see most of the stuff in the right-hand seat as an FO, sometimes more than once. So by the time you become a commander, you've actually had these experiences. But what we're noticing now is because of the demand for pilots around the world, man, the guys are becoming captains so early on that a lot of these experiences, they experience them for the first time as a captain. And they wonder what the hell to do about it. And what got me thinking with it, because we're in touch with a lot of these guys, they shoot you a message. Hey, Bryan, this happened to me. I did this. What do you think? And you can just tell that there's a little bit of a disconnect there. They haven't seen it before. They've now gone and made a decision, and they're wondering, is this the right decision to be made? So like I said, a pilot's job, captain's job in particular, is to manage the risk of a flight. Now, when I was researching the cyber attacks with the South African Weather Service, I came across an equation that is the same equation that we use in aviation that I've used for a long time. In fact, I heard it on a podcast for the first time many years ago. But it's a nice little equation to use, whether you're an aviator or not. You can use it in everyday life. The equation is simple. Your risk equals your threat multiplied by your vulnerability. Okay, so your threat can be anything: a mountain, weather, technical issue, right? You can't do anything about that threat. That threat is there. Yeah. But your vulnerability is how vulnerable are you to that threat? And obviously, I always give the guys the same little example. The example that I always give, our one briefing room here has got a glass window, the ERJ briefing room. And I always say to the guys, when you walked into the briefing room this morning to start this briefing, if there was a black mamba snake sitting on the desk, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would the threat be? And all the guys saying, look, that's a 10. Okay, it's maximum threat. How vulnerable are you to that black mamba snake? Well, if that thing bites you, you tickets. Okay, so you it's a 10 as well. So you agree that your risk profile for that black mamba snake on that desk is maximum 100. Okay, you agree? Yeah. All right. Now you take the same scenario. So the threat stays exactly the same, except I tell you, hey, Ryan, before you walk into that briefing room, be careful. There might be a black mamba snake sitting on that desk. Yeah. Okay. The threat is still 10. But you're not going to walk into that room, are you? You're going to look through the glass window first.
Because I'd leave the facility.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, if you left the facility, what would your vulnerability be? Yeah. It would be 0.
Exactly.
All right. So anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So you've taken the same situation, and for one situation, the risk is as high as it can be. It's 100. And for the other one, it's 0, simply because you were expecting it. So in aviation, what we do all the time, if you're flying an approach, what are you doing? Are you expecting to land? No, you're expecting to go around. You're always sort of planning on that go around. So when you need to, it's all there. The calls are all there, the actions are all there, and you can go and do this go around. Yeah. You've been in the flight deck sometimes where just you haven't been prepared for the go around, or the guy doing it wasn't prepared, and it's a total balls up. Okay, because you weren't expecting it, you weren't prepared. So I quite like this this risk equation from that point of view, from pushing what it means to be prepared. Again, from an aviation perspective, rolling down the runway, what are you expecting to do? You're expecting to reject the takeoff. You're waiting for that excuse to reject the takeoff. If it doesn't come, you take off as per normal. And this is a nice way in terms of preparation. And I suppose in everyday life, you can use that as well. But where I like this formula for outside the flight deck is to try and reduce your risk profile. You've been speaking a lot about finances lately. Okay, so we all deal with this stuff all the time. If you've used up your savings or whatever, and let's say, touch wood, this doesn't happen, but you big stomach cramp. You think your appendix is gone. You've got to get to the hospital. All right. So your risk profile financially here, let's forget about the health side, but financially is going to be on the high side because you don't have any savings there to look after this little personal crisis you might be having. You understand what I'm saying? So the point here that I'm trying to make is, why don't we take this little equation, which is very easy to use, and try and adapt it to one area of your life, whether it's a relationship with a buddy, your wife, financial health, whatever it might be, and try and reduce your risk profile within that little area. You can't do it with everything. But my point being with start with one of them is because it starts becoming a bit of a habit.
Yeah.
How can I bring that risk profile down? And I get a kick out of using it because ultimately in the flight deck we use it all the time. It's a natural thing to use. We're managing risk all the time. But in life in general, we can use it for many things. The way you drive your car at very high speed or whatever, your threat levels going up. How vulnerable are you? Well, if there's a mountain on the side of the road that you're going up Chapman's Peak Drive or whatever, your risk profile is flipping high. So you want to reduce it a bit with your family in the back of the car. Be a bit smarter about the speed you're driving. And
we could throw some life experience in there as well when we shot down to Hazyview on our Harleys. When it was pissing with rain. And, the risk profile there was exceptionally high that weekend.
What happened that weekend?
We survived. We survived.
Just.
We're very lucky.
But so that's my sort of my thing for this week. Your risk profile, your risk equals your threat multiplied by your vulnerability. Now, you can't always do something about the threat. Table Mountain, if you, what's the one on Tigerberg? Off to the right after 01 departure. That's a threat, particularly if you have an engine failure, right engine failure in particular, off 01. You can't do anything about the fact that that mountain is there. But you can reduce your vulnerability significantly if you're planning ahead. Look, if we have an engine failure, I'm going to turn off there on my safety heading out towards Robben Island or whatever. You're basically reducing your risk to near zero again, just by being aware of it. So if you can be aware of your vulnerabilities, you actually can reduce your risk profile and think like an airline pilot.
That is some sage advice, Kaz. And I think that'll go a long way. Very great formula. I like it. While you were talking about that, I was also drawing the parallels between the segment that I've been talking about and the finance side of things. And there is so many parallels to that. I mean, talking about finances, it's kind of risky to jump into a topic like that from an aviation podcast point of view, like we have in the beginning of the year, sort of branching off and been sort of asked by a few people saying like, where does this come from? How does this direction kind of like feature here now? And if I am going to apply the risk formula to it, the vulnerability is quite great because it's a subject that I'm no expert in. And I want to sort of just make that quite clear now. The reason I started talking about this was because it was an interest I found during the December break. And I figured that it must be worthwhile learning about it and sharing it on the podcast. And there's been some good feedback. And I'm actually enjoying the process because slowly but surely networking, getting a lot of advice from people. And so that's what that's all about. Just wanted to make that a little bit clearer.
Well, if I can jump in there as well, I like that idea in following someone's journey that is not an expert. There are so many channels, there are so many videos, there are so many courses where you can actually go and get this information for free from an expert.
Exactly.
And this is the thing for charging things these days. Very difficult to, I've developed a course, I'm going to charge people to do this course. Whereas you can go onto YouTube and you can go and investigate a subject and you can become pretty knowledgeable just by watching free stuff.
Yeah.
As Daniel Priestley says, it's the implementation these days that people want more than the information.
Yeah.
But someone made a comment to us many years ago when we had started the podcast journey, and they said that, can't even remember who it was, but they were talking about when you're trying to get a particular word or a point or a sentence out, the listener is actually sitting there with you, hoping that you're
going to score the goal, kind of
hoping
thing.
you're going to score the goal. Exactly it. Yeah. You're trying to make this point to the listener, and they're there with you.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, we were so focused. We want to be so polished. We want to be, everything must work perfect. We're going to have the same shirts. The lighting must be perfect. Yeah. And you kind of miss the point on why people are actually watching you in the first place.
Yeah.
They're kind of watching this journey, but B, they're there with you. And so point being, I think you taking them along this journey that you're on about learning about the finance side, and you're going to come across a few pitfalls along the way. And I'm sure those are the things that you're going to be sharing over the course of the next couple of weeks.
That's the whole idea with this. It's also, I've found in a little bit of research that I've done, you get a lot of these financial experts that have these channels. And it's so amusing how many times they refer to aviation in their analogies. They'll be like, so we have this financial plan over here, and much like an airline pilot would manage his risk, so to speak,
yes.
This is what we're going to do. And it got me thinking, like, well, okay, I'm on the other side of the spectrum, an airline pilot, and I know fuck all about money.
Mm-hmm.
So let me apply this methodology and start learning about it. It's a fascinating world. One of the big things that gets me about the research I've been going is the terminology these oaks use. So I thought I'd speak about that this week and, gamify this a bit.
You mean to tell me that there are more acronyms and strange terms in finance than there are in aviation?
John, it's full. You'll hear a lot more weirder stuff than you will in an aviation bar, let me tell you that much. Bull market and bear market.
Yeah, I always get confused with those.
Yeah. So quite funny. It's so simple. You're reading those candle charts and everything. A bull market actually refers to when the bull market is, or the prices of securities and stocks, etc., are actually expecting a rise.
Mm-hmm.
Quite simple. The reason it's called a bull market is because they refer to it as a bull's horns. Mm-hmm. And when a bull attacks, it swipes its horns up. I was like, serious? It's that simple.
Is that like a J curve we speak about in the business side?
Similar to that. You're looking at those stock charts and everything, and when the market's on the up and up, it's referred to as a bull market.
Okay, I like it.
Something that I'm finding interesting, and in doing some research now, particularly with what's going on around in the world right now, we may very soon be facing a bear market,
mm-hmm.
which is a situation when the markets start going down.
Mm-hmm.
It's referred to as a bear market because when a bear attacks, takes its claws, swipes down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? How simple is that?
I'll never forget it now.
I feel like a grade 1 learner.
Yeah. It's nice learning a new thing.
Yeah. So things like that, a whole bunch of terminology. It's I've been going through it. I'm obviously not going to go through it all now. Put together a bit of an article, break this stuff down for the LinkedIn thing. But
the articles on that, where are you chucking it out?
Putting it all on LinkedIn and on my website.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make a bit of a blog post out of it.
RyanParrock.com.
Mm-hmm. It's there. So yeah, next week we'll have something more interesting. We'll go into it. But yeah, it's an interesting thing to get into. And there's a lot of experts out there. What I like about this as well is why I'm trying to get educated on this topic is there's a lot of charlatans out there.
Yeah.
And we've always been very good at sort of calling out the bullshit in the aviation industry. And I suppose, like you say, if you get educated, get some knowledge on a subject, you'll be able to see through some of that. So
yeah,
that's the idea here.
No, I love it, Paul. I think it's cool. I think it's nice to be taken on the journey. And don't forget, it's not that far off on, the pod, we've always had in the definition, if you want horrendous financial advice,
it's still there.
It's still there. So, you know, we're keeping consistent. But, yeah, obviously taking you on the journey of the pod, just to go back what we were speaking about before. I mean, pod's been out since 2019. We're in year 7 of it now, which is pretty crazy. And it's up to us all the time to, you know, try bring new things to the table, to try and adapt. And I think, you know, I think we've managed to do it to a point, but there's something that you and I do, and the way that I think we find success in certain things we do is by having the ability to say that didn't work. We need to change it up, or not be attached to it through ego. And if you come up with an idea and say, right, I'm going to run with this, and we give it a go, and if it doesn't work, well, then we must say, look, put your hands up, let's change track. Yeah. And I think that's a good attitude to have, because you've got to try. Doesn't matter what you do in life, you've got to try. Whether it's, I was saying with Mike last week, starting judo or something, you got to try. Got to see if you enjoy this thing.
Exactly.
Maybe you love it.
Look, in all these inspirational books that are out there about motivation and everything, the one thing that keeps cropping up is from all these successful people are saying, don't be afraid to fail. Yes. So, yeah, give it a bash. If you see your balls, then so what?
That's a far more succinct way to explain what I was trying to say there. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Just going back to a couple of listener comments from the other week. I've got Renalia says, love the total new look and content, guys. Thanks, Renal. I've got most of my friends that used to be domestic frequent flyers rather drive. The hassle factor is just too much. Yep, but if you're going to Cape Town or something, bit of a hike.
Yeah.
Mark, we've spoken about. Duncan, yeah, such great essential advice. It's all in the preparation, one's attitude. That's so important, Bryan. Thanks, Duncan. Ol, we spoke about. Martin spoke about. Ace Man.
Yeah. Looks like he is going to Osh.
Looks like he is going to go to Osh. Yako, sorry again, I agree with you. For us, standard reporting time is 1 hour 10 prior to departure. I always arrive 2 hours prior to departure. That's my being on time sage advice from last week. Then I have time to adapt if things change. So, yeah, thanks, Yako. Yeah, I must say these little segments that I've been doing with, you know, a lot of it we speak about all the time, particularly in the sim center. So I kind of enjoy speaking about it to the students. That's why I thought let me chuck the stuff out there. But let's go back to what we started off speaking about at the beginning of the show. It's Drikus this weekend. Sean Strickland, 5 o'clock the main card starts. It's in Oz. Get up for it and watch. It's going to be awesome. Drikus's fight will probably be around 7 in the morning.
You think it's going to be... Yeah.
It's normally about there, but yeah, you're going to have to just double check that. I don't want you to miss it because you took our TV guide advice.
Be on
there.
time, but don't be late for DDP.
Yeah, don't be late for DDP. Huge fight's going to be massive.
Yeah,
and very much behind Drikus.
Looking forward to it, man, and behind him all the way. So,
before we shut down shop today, though, I have, would you believe it, a Bryan Air advisory for you, Paul.
Another one.
We don't give these things out all the time. But when we do, they're legit. So you know you're getting the best advice.
Yeah.
A friend of mine posted something on LinkedIn this last couple of weeks ago. And it was about a new mobile service. It's been around. It's not brand new. Sort of crossed my eye, but I didn't think much about it. And I've been... After your financial segment, I've been trying to be a little bit more savvy with my own personal finances to have a little bit more ZAR available at the end of the day to throw somewhere useful, you know? You know how it goes, particularly these days. I'm sure everyone finds, before you know it, your debit orders are like triple what they used to be because you've got subscriptions for 3 million things that you signed up for online, and, you know, $50 there, $100 there, $20 there.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you've got...
you know what catches you with your pants down a bit as well is some of the subscriptions that you subscribe for in dollars.
Yes.
And then they hook at exchange rate.
Yes.
And then there's like this little extra fucking bank charge.
Yes.
Bank charges.
It's like $30 for...
Yeah, sneaky little shit. Yeah, so it adds up, heavy.
It adds up. So I've been trying, you know, to look at where a lot of my expenses are coming from. And my Vodacom bill is horrendous. I've got literally myself, my wife, got contracts. There's a computer on there as well. But my bill is just flipping ridiculous. I'm looking at it the other day going, this I can't carry on paying this exorbitant money for a horrendous service. If you try and sort something out with these guys, you're either speaking to some bot or a call center that you never, it's just a freaking nightmare.
Yeah.
You never know what you owe. It's just chaos. I don't like it. So, as luck would have it, my mate posts something. He says, you have to try Melon Mobile. Okay? Melon Mobile. So you think, come on, man. So I cruise across there. Now, first of all, they've got a 2-week trial. So you can get I know you're in the market at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
2-week trial. To see if it works. So piggybacking off MTN. So no contracts. No contracts. It's fully digital. Even the SIM card is an eSIM. Fully digital. You do your Rika, all that cuck through WhatsApp, speaking to a real person.
No paperwork.
No paperwork. No, none of this like, you know, these sort of press 1 for this and then it goes, you're trying to... And then eventually it gets to the end. Please speak to an agent type of vibe. None of that. You speak to a real person. I had one the other day. The guy says, "Hi, I'm Jamie. How can I help you?" You know, and you're actually speaking to someone. But their product is fully digital. But you don't speak to a bot. But now, pal, this is where it gets interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what you're paying on your subscription, whoever you're with, but you go here to Melon Mobile, 14-day free trial, free, okay? You get 5 gigs there free, use it how you want in the 2 weeks. But if you want a 10 gig unlimited plan, meaning 10 gigs of data, unlimited voice, unlimited SMSs, month to month, you cancel whenever you want, 299 Rand.
John, that almost sounds too good to be true.
It's not. I've been using them. Let me tell you, the reception is excellent. As I said, they're piggybacking off MTN anyway, so it's not like you get reception everywhere. So easy to deal with. You download the app. Everything's on the app. There's no stores. You don't obviously go to a store. Everything is, you get the thing on an eSIM. You activate the eSIM. It takes 10 seconds. And if you're like me and you're with Voda or whatever, they'll port your number across for you. You just tell the oak on the WhatsApp, look, I need my number ported across, and then they do the whole thing for you, and it gets activated in the same day. So if you're in the market for a new service provider, I'll tell you now, for those prices, I mean, and it makes you mad how badly you're being ripped off elsewhere. But I mean, 15 gig. If you go for the 15 gig option, it's unlimited voice, unlimited SMS, $399. Let's go to the big one here, 50 gigs of data. I mean, I don't know who you're going to be to go through 50 gigs on your phone, but anyway, 50 gigs, unlimited voice, unlimited SMSs, 599 Rand.
That's just insane. That's still 200 Rand cheaper than what I pay for less than half of what you're currently getting then.
Yeah.
That is mad,
Melon Mobile, pal.
Sounds like a bargain, but I'm gonna hook me up that subscription somewhere right now.
It's well worth it. Well worth it.
Yeah. Cheers, Vodacom.
Yep. No, thanks, pal.
Cool,
Great
man.
show. Enjoy the sport this weekend, and we'll see everyone next week.
Shot guys, have a lekker one.
Have a good one.
Ciao.
Bye for now.